On the city wall, the kidnappers forced Xiaoheng to choose between two options. He chose his white moonlight. To make him regret it, I gambled my life and leaped from the wall. I didn't die, but I was left crippled. I thought Xiaoheng would be heartbroken, turning his hair white overnight for me. But he coldly declared, "Since you're crippled, yield the princess consort's position to Wan Wan." On the day he married Song Wan, I died in bitter resentment on my sick bed, my crippled legs crawling with rats and vermin. When I opened my eyes again, I had reborn back to the day of the choice. Xiaoheng still chose to save Song Wan. After shooting the assassin, he looked at me, waiting for me to cry, make a scene, or threaten suicide. Release Song Wan. She has a heart condition, she can't handle the shock. The words had barely left Xiaoheng's mouth when the bandits pushed Song Wan off the city wall. Xiaoheng leapt from his horse, catching Song Wan and holding her tightly in his arms. The kidnappers had been hiding behind me and Song Wan, preventing Xiaoheng from acting rashly. The moment Song Wan was saved, Xiaoheng immediately ordered his archers to fire. A hail of arrows rained down on me and the kidnappers without mercy. The archers deliberately avoided me, yet the dense hail of arrows inevitably grazed my body. The arrows killed the kidnappers on the tower, shredded my robes, and disheveled my hair, my hands and feet bound. I was like a human target, utterly unable to dodge. Song Wan huddled in Xiaoheng's embrace like a frightened rabbit. Xiaoheng carefully shielded her with his cloak, fearful this scene might terrify her. Finally, seeing the situation hopeless, the bandit leader grabbed me by the back of the neck, intending to use me as a human shield. "Prince Ning, you care not even for your consort's life." Before the leader could finish, Xiaoheng had already drawn his longbow to its full draw. The arrow flew straight for the leader's throat, his vital point. In the blink of an eye, the arrow sliced past my neck, piercing the leader's Adam's apple while tearing through my flesh. Blood gushed forth instantly. As a trained physician, I knew this arrow had missed my own vital spot by a hair's breadth. Had it veered just an inch more, I would have perished alongside the bandits. Xiaoheng appeared to save me, yet he clearly didn't value my life. In my past life, Xiaoheng's arrow pierced my heart. Seeing him clasp the unscathed Song Wan tightly, I acted on impulse, and to witness Xiaoheng's anguish, I threw myself from the city wall. Xiaoheng was a fierce warrior. He could catch Song Wan, pushed off the city wall by kidnappers, with pinpoint accuracy. Yet he couldn't catch me as I plunged downward. That fall shattered my bones, blood splattering everywhere. I expected to see Xiaoheng's anguished howls, his confessions that he should have saved me. But when I awoke, all I received was his cold words. "I could have saved you. You chose to jump. Whom do you blame?" My fall left me half crippled. The imperial physician declared I would never walk again, doomed to a lifetime of suffering. I imagined Xiaoheng would turn white-haired overnight with regret, kneeling by my bedside begging forgiveness. Instead, he merely brought Song Wan before me, coldly declaring, "Since you're crippled, the position of consort shall pass to Wan Wan." My rage boiled over as I screamed in fury. He rebuked me icily, "Luli, have you finished your tantrum? The mansion will provide for you for life. You won't go hungry." With the mansion's new mistress, the servants shifted their allegiance. On the day Xiaoheng married Song Wan, I died in agony within the inner courtyard's pavilion. Only rats and maggots breeding in my rotting legs kept me company until the end. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on that day, bound on the city wall facing a choice between two fates. The kidnappers had been slaughtered, and soldiers cheered the prince's master archers. Before all eyes, I stood as if violated by the arrow storm, clothes askew, hair disheveled. I met Xiaoheng's probing gaze. He seemed to expect me to cry or protest. I, Lu Li, am the cherished daughter of the Lu family, a house of generals. This marriage to Xiao Heng was a bestowed union, secured through my father and brother's military merits. Xiao Heng had originally intended to marry Song Wan of the Marquis' household. Unfortunately, the Marquis' family was implicated in a major corruption scandal at the time, leading to their confiscation and punishment. Unable to marry his beloved, Xiao Heng settled for me, who eagerly pursued him. Shortly after our marriage, Xiao Heng took Song Wan, a slave, into the household. Song Wan suffered from a heart ailment, often clutching her chest in distress, which constantly worried Xiao Heng. Believing Xiao Heng favored the sickly beauty, I began throwing myself into the lotus pond every few days or deliberately falling from trees, using self-harm to win a sliver of his affection. Now, as Xiao Heng watched me, he assumed I was about to resort to my old tricks, crying, causing a scene, and threatening suicide. But I merely clutched the bleeding wound at my throat, clinging to life, and calmly descended from the perilous platform atop the city wall. Xiao Heng rushed to stop me, unease evident, up there on the wall. I truly feared you might leap in a moment of impulse. Xiao Heng truly understood my nature. He knew I gambled with my life to win his attention, and thus believed he could trample my sincerity at will. Pressing my hand against the blood on my neck, I gave a cold laugh. Your Highness, are you afraid I might jump? Or do you hope I would? Xiao Heng's expression darkened. What do you mean by that? Just because I didn't choose you, you dare speak so sarcastically? Your servant dares not. I was confident I could save both of you. Wan Wan is frail and prone to illness, she can't handle shocks. Unlike you, a spoiled young miss from a military family, she has only me. Xiao Heng defended himself harshly, as if feeling guilty. In the past, I would likely have argued with him again, but now, I only found men's chatter unbearably noisy. I bowed my head, speaking with virtuous propriety. Your Highness is correct. I am deeply grateful for saving my life. Xiao Heng paused, reaching out to examine my wound. I lowered my gaze and shifted my body, subtly evading him. Thank you for your concern, Your Highness. It missed the vital point by an inch. I shall not die. Xiao Heng ordered. Go fetch the imperial physician to examine the princess consort. It's all my fault. Song Wan spoke with remorse. Your Highness, you shouldn't have chosen to save me. The princess consort is your lawful wife. With her injured like this, Wan Wan deserves 1,000 deaths for her sin. As she cried, she clutched her chest, sobbing weakly. Yet just moments ago on the city wall, after Xiao Heng chose to save her, she tossed me this line. Princess consort, if we both fell, guess who His Highness would choose to catch? Secure in her love, she taunted me with such confidence even at life's threshold. In my past life, her words enraged me. Seeing Xiao Heng catch her after she was pushed from the tower, I stubbornly gambled with my own life to prove Xiao Heng truly cared for me. I ended up crippled. Before I died in that life, Song Wan came to see me one last time, still wearing her wedding gown. She smiled smugly. Luli, I only provoked you casually that day. I never imagined you'd take it so seriously. Now that your legs are crippled, the prince's mansion is mine. Song Wan's twisted expression overlapped with the innocent face before me. Just then, the imperial physician arrived. Seeing the blood I'd lost, he immediately moved to tend my wounds. Xiao Heng abruptly yanked the physician away. Check Wan Wan first. She's probably just startled, she's about to faint. While everyone crowded around Song Wan, I tore a piece of cloth from my dress and hastily bandaged the wound on my neck. Then I set off alone toward the palace. Along the way, I drew many sidelong glances and whispers. At the brink of life and death, Prince Ning would rather push his consort to her death than protect another woman. The Liu family deserves this. She insisted on marrying Prince Ning back then, Forced fruit never tastes sweet, now she's finally tasting the bitterness. She brought this upon herself. What sympathy is there to be had? Don't speak so harshly. It's pitiful. If I were the Prince Ning's consort, I'd wish for death myself. Well said. I truly brought this upon myself. But I won't seek death again. I want to live healthily. To live with dignity. Clutching my wound, I felt the pain Xiaoheng had inflicted upon me. This agony only sharpened my clarity. Thus, battered yet resolute, I reached the palace gates. I had once tended to the Empress Dowager's health. Should her nighttime headaches flare, I could enter the palace without formal notice. Yet the guards still barred my way, Princess Consort of Ning. To see the Empress Dowager, one must be neatly dressed. Bloodstains are unacceptable. A warm cloak fell perfectly over my shoulders, concealing my disarray. I turned to see Prince Rui, Xiao Jing, who had draped it over me. Born to the imperial consort, Xiao Jing possessed a handsome, dignified bearing. Yet, his health had been undermined since childhood when he fell into a frigid pond, leaving him perpetually frail. Amidst the treacherous power struggles for the throne, Xiao Jing remained utterly insignificant. Yet I remembered him because, after my tragic death and the Liu family's downfall at Xiao Heng's hands in my past life, the only person to cry out for justice on my behalf was Xiao Jing, a man I'd never even crossed paths with. He denounced Xiao Heng for murdering his wife. But Xiao Heng retorted, Liu sure threw herself from the city wall. She died from her injuries. What does that have to do with me? Later, at my grave, Xiao Jing lost control in his drunkenness and raged at me, Liu Li, you're brainless. To prove some worthless man's sincerity, you destroyed yourself, utterly foolish. Fuming until he coughed up blood, he weakly cursed me. I saved your life back then, was it so you could throw yourself away for some man? I saved you for nothing. His vicious tirade made my lingering spirit hang its head in shame, though I couldn't fathom when he'd ever saved my life. Seeing him so enraged truly frightened me. Yet immediately after, I heard him weeping. Before my grave, he clutched the tombstone and wailed. I owed him one small debt of gratitude. He had erased the title Princess Consort of Ning from my tombstone, at least severing my connection to Xiaoheng in death. Now, seeing Xiao Jing, I felt an inexplicable dread toward him. The incident on the city tower had become common knowledge, and I feared he would scold me for not cherishing my own life, just as he had in my previous life. This frail prince could be truly vicious when he cursed. Yet Xiao Jing merely handed me his cloak to ward off the cold, before the Empress Dowager. One must not lose decorum. Thank you for your reminder, Prince Rui. I curtsied. Xiao Jing stared at the wound on my neck, where seeping blood had long soaked through the bandage. It matters not, I said. Let the blood flow thus. Flow for the nobles within the palace to see. Xiao Jing's hand, nearly emerging from his sleeve, clenched tightly in restraint. His amber eyes darkened, concealing his emotions. Only upon his signal did the guards allow me to pass. As I entered the palace gates, I couldn't help but glance back at Xiao Jing. His back was as straight as when he had pleaded my innocence in my past life, yet as frail as when he wept at my grave in that same existence. I turned and entered the palace, unaware that Xiao Jing had also glanced back at me. I entered the palace of eternal longevity, knelt on the ground, and paid my respects to Her Majesty the Empress Dowager. As I moved, the wound on my neck was exposed, and blood, carrying a peculiar fragrance, began to seep out. The Empress Dowager caught the scent and gasped in shock. A year prior, the Empress Dowager had been poisoned by an assassin from the western regions. She had sought a woman to taste all manner of toxins for her, ultimately discovering the medicinal herb Ma Xiang Chao that saved her life. After regaining her life, the blood flowing through the Empress Dowager's veins would also emit an unusual fragrance. The only other being in this world who shared that scent was the woman who had tasted the poisons for her. So you were the one who saved this old woman. The Empress Dowager realized with a start, personally helping me to my feet. My dear child. Why didn't you tell me? Back then, I proved myself by testing the poisons. Yet Xiao Heng concealed my identity. He claimed the Prince Ning's mansion was already a target for everyone's hatred. If I, his consort, drew further attention, it would make him a target for jealousy and assassination by the other princes. I loved him deeply then, obeying his every word, never boasting of this merit. But after I became crippled in my past life, Xiao Heng brought Song Wan before the Empress Dowager, falsely claiming credit for testing the medicine. He used this merit to erase Song Wan's slave status, making her the legitimate princess consort. This time around, I must act first. I knelt, Your Majesty. 2 years ago, this humble servant sought your permission to marry Prince Ning through the Liu family's military merits. Now, I wish to use the medicine testing merit to request your permission to divorce Prince Ning. Xiao Heng. Secrets don't last long in the imperial city. News from the city walls had already reached the palace. The Empress Dowager sighed, I shall grant your request. After the emperor's birthday banquet in 3 days, I will bestow the divorce decree. I returned to the prince's residence late into the night. Xiao Heng was waiting for me. You went to the palace? I went to the Imperial Medical Academy to have my master prescribe some medicine. My medical skills were inherited from Lady Yi, the chief physician of the Imperial Medical Bureau. Xiao Heng said, Lady Yi is a master of medicine. You value your life, don't you? Have her examine Wan another day. She was quite frightened today and I just managed to lull her to sleep. I replied coldly, my master said she couldn't detect any heart ailment in Song Wan's pulse. She doesn't know how to treat illnesses that don't exist. She's your master, naturally biased toward you. You're just trying to say Wan is faking it. Do you think I can't tell if she's pretending? She was scared to the point of fainting today. I listened quietly as Xiao Heng defended Song Wan, a man so shrewd, yet willingly feigning sleep in her charade. This, I suppose, was how Xiao Heng truly expressed his love for someone. I had never seen such a cold, distant expression on Xiao Heng before. He softened his tone and offered an explanation. I spoke harshly today. Please don't take it to heart. The imperial physician said Wan needs quiet rest. You must care for her diligently these next few days. Recalling my past life, I smiled and said, Your Highness, if you cherish her so, why not simply take her as your consort? Wan doesn't want to be a princess consort. She only wishes to stay by my side forever. She cares nothing for titles. Oh, is that so? Xiao Heng softened his voice, Ollie. I'll be honest with you. The moment Wan was pushed from the city wall today, my heart shattered. If anything truly happened to her, I couldn't go on living. How devoted you are, Your Highness. If I fell from the city wall, would you catch me too? If I died, would your heart break as well? Xiao Heng answered without hesitation, Of course I would. You're lying. Only after this incident did I realize I cannot live without Wan. But Song Wan is of slave lineage. To grant her status, I must first earn merit to free her from her servitude. Xiao Heng clasped my hand again. Ollie, would you give Wan the credit for testing the Empress Dowager's poison? Indeed. One must live on, healthy and whole. Had I been bedridden as in my past life, Xiao Heng wouldn't have asked, he'd have taken Song Wan into the palace to claim the credit outright. But I am unharmed. If he wants his beloved to claim my credit, he must fear these legs that can enter the palace and this mouth that can lodge complaints. He must consult me first. If Song Wan needs it, I would give her not just this merit, but even the position of princess consort. I said magnanimously, You know I'll do whatever you say. Xiao Heng beamed, leaning in to kiss my forehead. Ollie, you've grown up. In the past, I would have cherished his unexpected intimacy for days. But now, my gaze was icy, a chill Xiaoheng failed to notice. He'd already mapped out everything for Song-Wan. At the Emperor's birthday banquet in 3 days, I'll bring Song-Wan to claim credit for testing the medicine. All you need to do is keep quiet and bear witness. Very well, Your Highness. I shall grant you both your wish. Little did he know, the Empress Dowager had already publicly acknowledged my role in testing the medicine before the Emperor today. Should Xiaoheng dare to bring Song-Wan forward to falsely claim credit at the banquet, they would both be guilty of deceiving the sovereign. Xiaoheng is a prince, he won't die. But Song-Wan, a slave-born criminal woman, falsely claiming great merit? That's enough to have her entire clan executed once more. I didn't fall to my death from the city wall. That damned person. Well, it was someone else. 3 days later, before entering the palace, Song-Wan deliberately bowed to me in front of Xiaoheng. As one bearing guilt, I never dared dream of any status by your highness's side. But that moment on the city wall, facing life and death, I finally saw clearly my feelings for your highness. Tears welled in her eyes as she continued. Love always breeds greed. Song-Wan is of shallow fortune, yet graced by your highness's favor. I also thank the princess consort for her generosity. She bowed deeply, her delicate frame tilting as she did so. Such dignified grace, it reminded one that before her family's decline, she had indeed been worthy of the Ning prince's legitimate wife. In my past life, before entering the palace to claim undeserved credit, Song-Wan had also come to see me alone. At that time, I lay paralyzed in bed, filthy and unkempt from the maidservant's negligent care. The moment Song-Wan entered the room, she wrinkled her nose in disgust. That single gesture carried more humiliation than 1,000 vile insults. She said, "Do you know why the prince is bringing me to the palace today? The credit for testing the medicine for the Empress Dowager, the credit you earned back then, is about to become mine." At that time, the Liu family was embroiled in a major case of embezzling military funds, and the entire family was imprisoned. I intended to use this merit to petition the Empress Dowager for a retrial of the Liu family case. Yet my only trump card was seized by Xiaoheng to curry favor with Song-Wan. I raged in defiance, trying to stop her from entering the palace, but my paralyzed body stiffened and tumbled from the bed. Song-Wan watched my disarray, then spun gracefully in place, stretching her limbs with elegant poise. "Princess consort," she said, "during your paralysis, I've danced for His Highness daily. He told me he adores my supple form." She bent down triumphantly, lifting my chin with her finger. "In bed, His Highness also prefers a healthy body. You know he always enjoys playing games. A playful man won't fancy a helpless cripple." Only then did I realize Song-Wan's heart ailment was merely an act to win Xiaoheng's pity. "I feigned illness to deceive you into harming yourself. Finally, I tricked you into leaping from the city wall, leaving you crippled. Lu Li, you too have become a sickly beauty now. But has the prince ever truly valued you? Has he ever lain awake at night worrying over your injuries? Has he ever personally brewed medicine for you? Has he ever sought out renowned physicians for your sake? Never." Song-Wan gloated triumphantly, "But he did all these things for me. Princess consort, your husband's heart belongs to me. The great merit of saving the Empress Dowager is now mine too." She strode away triumphantly. I crawled to the doorway, wailing in agony. But my crippled, stiffened body couldn't even drag itself out the door. I collapsed in despair, lying there until nightfall, until an imperial edict arrived, commending Song-Wan for testing the medicine for the Empress Dowager, allowing her to atone for her sins by being infeft as the Princess of Jiaqing. The decree further stated, Liu Shi, now crippled, with the Liu family's corruption case proven beyond doubt, shall be demoted from wife to concubine. Princess Jiaqing shall be elevated to consort and wed Prince Ning on a date to be chosen. Overnight, Song-Wan, daughter of a disgraced minister, stepped over me to claim both title and status. When Xiao Heng truly loved someone, he planned for her with such meticulous care. In this lifetime, Xiao Heng repeated his old tricks. Though he showed me more respect, or rather, more apprehension. He pretended to seek my consent. But in truth, if I refused, he always found a way to make me relent. Song-won remained in her bowing posture. Such a formal gesture required the recipient to assist her to her feet for it to be considered proper. I did not move, merely watching Song-won bend low before me. Xiao Heng's expression darkened. Your Highness, Wan is still unwell. I smiled. Your Highness, Song-won intends to take what is mine. Now that she must endure the hardship of proper etiquette. You feel pity for her? Xiao Heng was rendered speechless. Just then, Song-won stumbled, falling directly into Xiao Heng's arms. She hastily apologized, Your Highness. Forgive me. My constitution is frail and my fortune thin. It was not a lack of sincerity. I sneered. One as thin-fortuned as you, I wonder if you can even bear the weight of my great merit in saving the throne. At the birthday banquet, after 3 rounds of wine, the princes and princesses offered their longevity wishes to the emperor in order of seniority. Married princes were accompanied by their principal consorts, while princesses were escorted by their imperial consorts. In such occasions, only the principal consort was ever permitted to attend. Every couple stood paired, their harmony as perfect as zither and lutes. Yet at Xiao Heng's side, 3 stood together. His left arm held me, his consort, while his right hand clasped Song-won, a mistress who didn't even qualify as a secondary wife. Thus they offered their birthday wishes to the emperor. All eyes fell upon Song-won. Whispers circulated that the Prince of Ning had once abandoned his consort to her fate for this very woman. The emperor's previously benevolent expression shifted subtly, while the empress dowager's face darkened. Xiao Heng, she demanded. What purpose does it serve to bring a criminal woman of slave lineage to such a solemn occasion? Father, grandmother, though Song-won is a criminal, she has actually performed a great service, one she has never boasted about. Song-won played along, adopting an aloof demeanor befitting one who does good deeds anonymously. The Empress Dowager inquired, Is that so? To think someone possesses such great merit yet remains unheralded. Tell me more. Grandmother, a year ago, you were afflicted by a rare Western poison. After searching in vain for an antidote, a woman stepped forward. She tested hundreds of herbs for you, ultimately discovering the miraculous herb, the fragrant hemp, which cured your grave illness. It is true, the emperor said, the woman who tested the herbs that day was by your side. Indeed. When the emperor spoke these words, he was looking at me. But Xiao Heng couldn't wait to interject, that woman was by my side, Song-won. The emperor's expression darkened slightly. But Xiao Heng, oblivious, eagerly claimed credit for his beloved. When her imperial majesty's condition was critical, it was Song-won who stepped forward. She declared herself a sinner and volunteered to test the medicine for the Empress Dowager. Success would atone for her crimes, failure meant dying for the Empress Dowager. A death she would accept without regret. After the successful trial, she never sought recognition or made a fuss about it. Xiao Heng continued, as you all know, bandits attacked us days ago, and I nearly lost Song-won. After facing death, I finally understood my true feelings. So even if Song-won refuses to take credit, today I must proclaim her great merit. I also beg your majesty for a favor, pardon Song-won's crimes and let me give her a proper status. He was utterly consumed by his deep affection for Song-won, completely oblivious to the agonizing awkwardness his legitimate wife and princess consort, must have felt standing beside him. In the past, I would likely have been hurt and furious. But now, I simply watched Xiao Heng perform. My anger alone could not shake Xiao Heng's interests, only the wrath of the emperor could. The more silent and understanding I appeared, the more absurd and foolish Xiaoheng seemed. The emperor spoke in a deep voice, "Since this is Songwan's merit, why are you speaking for her? Let her answer herself." Songwan hurriedly replied, "Your Majesty, Empress Dowager, it was indeed the sinful woman who tested the medicine back then." The Empress Dowager inquired, "Your entire Song family was executed, yet you bear no grudge against the imperial house and willingly tested medicines for this one? The Song family's crimes have already received His Majesty's divine grace. This sinful woman dares not harbor resentment. I only wished to save the Empress Dowager, hoping to atone for my sins through merit. How noble, forgiving past grievances and demonstrating profound righteousness." After her praise, the Empress Dowager suddenly inquired, "I ask you, when the trials reached their final stage, only 3 herbs remained. Which 3 were they?" Having tested hundreds of herbs that day, Yi the physician ultimately selected only 3 mildly toxic plants, white ji, brown wu, and hemp fragrance. She intended to counter poison with poison. "How dare you!" the Empress Dowager exclaimed. "You dare to lie." Already feeling guilty, Songwan was so startled by the Empress Dowager's angry rebuke that she immediately fell to her knees. Yi Nui stepped forward and declared, at the final stage of testing, the 3 herbs remaining were, besides Ma Xiang, Rin Shen and Lingji. Songwan quickly chimed in, "Yes. Yes. Yes. It was Rin Shen and Lingji. I remembered it wrong." The word sparked an uproar among the assembled court. Yi sneered, "Ginseng and Lingji are potent tonics. Why would they need testing for toxicity?" Miss Song must be delusional to claim credit for such a crucial task before the emperor. Only then did Songwan realize she'd fallen into a trap. Xiaoheng suddenly turned his gaze to me. Since Songwan was attempting to take credit, Xiaoheng naturally pressed me to recount the day's events in detail. But, who said I'd tell them the truth? Songwan's lie was easily exposed. Xiaoheng scrambled to salvage the situation. "Father. Grandmother. Songwan is frail and has a poor memory. She must have misremembered. It was your son who accompanied her to test the medicine that day." "I can attest that it was indeed Songwan who tested the medicine for grandmother," the Empress Dowager asked. "Then tell me, what were the last 3 ingredients of the medicine that day?" It was. Xiaoheng was stumped. Back then, when the Empress Dowager was gravely ill from poisoning, it coincided with Xiaoheng and Songwan reuniting. Their old passion reignited, and they became inseparable, unwilling to wait even a moment. But with the Empress Dowager still ill, Xiaoheng couldn't indulge too freely. That day, while I was testing the medicine, he was out boating on the lake with Songwan, lost in passionate lovemaking. When he returned, I was pale and weak, my face turning blue from the interaction of 2 poisons within me. Seeing me, Xiaoheng actually complained I looked like a female ghost. He covered Songwan's eyes, afraid she'd be frightened. Later, when I discovered the antidote, Xiaoheng warned me not to spread the news. "So you ingested a few poisons, what great achievement do you think that is?" Yet soon after, he grew resentful. "Even my military victories didn't make me as proud as you are now. What are you gloating about?" But those victories were only possible because my Lu family army supported him from behind. With my father and brothers strategizing, he had no right to be proud. When the Empress Dowager recovered, the emperor rejoiced and honored the Imperial Medical Bureau, led by physician Yi. Xiaoheng grew anxious again, coaxing me, "If the palace learns you tested the antidote, our Prince Ning's residence will become an even greater target. For the safety of our household, Lu Li, you must keep this secret." How foolish I was back then, to heed his every word. He showed me no mercy, and now he can't even lie convincingly. "What is it? Speak up." The Empress Dowager glared at Xiaoheng with disappointment. "Is it for this lowly woman that you dare to deceive the emperor? Your humble son dares not." Your humble son dares not. Xiao Heng panicked, looking at me as if seeking rescue. The princess was present that day. After Song Wan tested the medicine, the princess tended to her. Princess, you can testify, it was Song Wan who tested the medicine that day. Wasn't it? I remained coldly silent. Xiao Heng grew desperate. Speak. Have you gone mute? The words left his mouth, and he immediately regretted them. He was accustomed to speaking harshly to me in the prince's mansion. And now, before the emperor, his true nature had surfaced. Just as Xiao Heng was about to backtrack, I suddenly brimmed with tears at the corners of my eyes. Kneeling before Xiao Heng, I said plaintively, Your Highness, I have already agreed to give the credit for testing the medicine to the woman you love. What more could you possibly want? In public, I always strive to be the best. Having died once and witnessed Song Wan's sickly beauty tactics, I'd learned a thing or two from her. Tears welled in my eyes, my face etched with grievance, my gaze timidly fixed on Xiao Heng. I played the part of the weak, innocent woman forced into compromise to the fullest. Everyone in the hall who knew me saw me as suffering the greatest injustice. Those unfamiliar with me, seeing a legitimate consort and princess consort treated so harshly, naturally voiced disapproval toward Xiao Heng and his mistress, calling his actions outrageous. The Empress Dowager understood my grievance best. Xiao Heng, do you not remember today is your father's 50th birthday? To bring such an unsuitable woman before your father and openly defy the throne, what are your intentions? Grandmother, please calm your anger. Xiao Heng knelt in panic, begging for forgiveness. I interceded for him, Your Majesty. It is not the prince's fault. He is also tormented by love. Does being consumed by passion justify treason? The Empress Dowager declared, Lu Li, you are far too indulgent, allowing such a woman to openly defy you. Your Majesty. Song Wan has usurped great merit and shown contempt for the imperial family. How shall she be punished? The emperor did not even glance at Song Wan kneeling before him, uttering two casual words. Beat to death. Song Wan gasped in horror, Your Highness. Save me. Xiao Heng understood his father's temperament best. The fewer words spoken, the heavier the punishment. If he pleaded now, he risked sacrificing the reputation he'd painstakingly built over years. He dared not intercede. This reaction sent Song Wan into a panic. Your Highness. Your Highness. Are you abandoning me? You chose me on the city wall, yet now you're casting me aside? You made me come and claim this credit. It was clearly you. Shut up. Xiao Heng suddenly roared at Song Wan. You made a mistake and now dare to slander this prince. Stunned by his shout, Song Wan froze as guards stepped forward to escort her for flogging. Suddenly, Song Wan clutched her stomach and cried out, I'm pregnant. Your Highness. I'm carrying your child. At this, Xiao Heng immediately halted the guards. Is it true? Has your Highness forgotten that night aboard the painted boat a month ago? Song Wan touched her barely visible belly with a look of grievance. I intended to surprise you. This child was hard to conceive, Your Highness, and I should cherish it all the more. Song Wan's words carried hidden meaning. 3 years prior, Xiao Heng had injured his reproductive organs while saving the emperor. The imperial physician declared his vital essence compromised, making offspring unlikely. Since then, the emperor had regarded Xiao Heng with greater esteem, for this son had saved his life. Yet the imperial family valued the continuity of the bloodline, for the throne must be passed down through generations. If Xiao Heng remained childless, the crown prince's position could not be rightfully transferred to him. Thus, Song Wan's pregnancy held extraordinary significance for Xiao Heng. The Empress Dowager remained skeptical and summoned Lady Physician Yi to examine Song Wan's pulse. I knew Song Wan was truly pregnant because since marrying into the prince's household, I had been assisting Xiao Heng with his health regimen. In my previous life, Song Wan not only stole my credit to become a county princess, but also announced her pregnancy to the prince on her wedding day, truly a triple celebration. At the height of Silently's triumph, I, crippled and forgotten, was confined to an unnoticed attic. The thought that this child in her womb was likely conceived through my tireless efforts to tend to Xiaoheng day and night struck me as both laughable and pitiful. Lu Li, your leap from the city wall truly served as the perfect wedding gown for that adulterous pair. After taking Silently's pulse, Lady Yi the physician reported, Your Majesty, Empress Dowager, Lady Song is indeed 1 month pregnant. Having a child means she won't die, right? She'll gain status through her child, won't she? Having endured the Ho family's confiscation, Silently feared death above all else. Seeing the emperor still hadn't spoken to spare her, she desperately pleaded for survival. Your Highness, if I die now, you'll have no heir. You know your own body best, this child is your only bloodline. Only I can bear you an heir. I know you cherish me most. You said it yourself, you married Lu Li only for the Lu family's military support. She was a strategic choice. But with me, it was pure affection. You spent 3 days and nights with me on the painted boat. On the city tower. You chose me. Xiaoheng. Was all of that a lie? Enough. Silently, desperate to survive, was about to expose Xiaoheng's deepest secrets. Furious yet constrained by the child growing within her womb, he could only step forward to cover her mouth, silencing her wild accusations. Then he pleaded with the emperor, Father, for the sake of the imperial bloodline within the Song family, I beg your majesty to pardon her crime of deceiving the throne. If punishment must be meted out, I implore your majesty to show mercy and delay it until after the child is born. The emperor, aware of Xiaoheng's lack of heirs, declared, death may be spared, but punishment must follow. Song dared to claim another's merit to escape servitude. Therefore, I decree, she shall remain a slave for life, never to rise above her station. This imperial decree shattered Silently's dream of gaining status through her child. Even if she bore 10 sons, she would forever remain a slave-born criminal. Silently had feigned illness for so long, hoping only to win Xiaoheng's pity and use his hand to escape servitude. Now, however, she was nailed to the pillar of shame, forever branded a slave. Unable to bear the blow, her eyes rolled back and she fainted. Xiaoheng immediately rushed to catch her. The emperor turned his gaze to me. My father, fearing the emperor might hold me accountable too, hurriedly stepped forward from his seat to plead, Your Majesty, Lu Li is the wife of Prince Ning. Since ancient times, the husband is the head of the household. Whatever Prince Ning commands her to do, she has no power to resist. I beg your majesty not to blame her. With the Empress Dowager backing me, the emperor's eyes softened as he looked at me. Lu Li, you have earned merit by testing the medicine for the Empress Dowager. As a subject, you served loyally, as a granddaughter-in-law. You honored your duty, as a princess consort. You merely obeyed your husband's words. What crime is there in that? Speak. What reward do you desire? The Empress Dowager gave me an encouraging look, signaling me to boldly ask His Majesty for the reward I deserved. Thus, in the grand hall, witnessed by all ministers, I declared resolutely, as you all see, Prince Ning and Lady Song are inseparable, their bond stronger than gold. A gentleman facilitates others' happiness. I am willing to yield my position. Your Majesty, please grant this servant's daughter a divorce from Prince Ning. Xiaoheng startled, Lu Li, what nonsense are you spouting? Your Highness, I am more lucid than ever. You've been clinging to me, begging for my attention, even threatening suicide daily. Now you demand a divorce? Is this some game of playing hard to get? Your Highness, I deeply regret my past clinginess. I said calmly and decisively, please, Your Highness, show mercy. Let us both move on. Xiaoheng realized I wasn't throwing a tantrum, I truly intended to sever our marital bond. His expression darkened, and the emperor did not immediately grant my request. Xiaoheng sneered coldly, "Lu Li, who would want such a jealous, fierce woman outside the Prince of Ning's mansion?" Xiaoheng had struck the heart of the matter. My Lu family held the foremost position among the military nobility. As the sole eligible daughter for marriage within the Lu lineage, marrying an ordinary court official would inevitably arouse imperial suspicion. My only path was to wed a member of the royal family. This was the very reason I had forced myself upon Xiaoheng. That bitter melon. Back then, the imperial court sought to harness marital ties to co-opt the military nobility's influence. A daughter of a military family marrying into the imperial house is both an honor and, in essence, a hostage for stability. The emperor did indeed hesitate over this matter, no matter how great the merit. It could not compromise the emperor's vital interests. I resolved to burn my boats and gritted my teeth, declaring, "Your Majesty, after the divorce, this humble daughter willingly shaves her head to become a nun, seeking only to sever all ties with the Prince of Ning's household for life and death." "Nonsense!" my father scolded urgently. "In the prime of your life, how could you become a nun?" The Empress Dowager also said, "Lu Li, do not treat your future as a game. Did I not know that becoming a nun meant destroying my prospects? But since ancient times, has a woman ever escaped marriage without shedding a layer of skin? I had already tasted the agony of shattering my soul and facing eternal damnation in my past life. What was the pain of shaving my head now?" Xiaoheng stared at me in disbelief. "Lu Li, do you truly despise me this much? Where has the Lu Li I once knew gone?" "She's dead." I met Xiaoheng's gaze, on the city wall. "You chose it yourself. Have you forgotten?" That scene on the city wall had long since become common knowledge. Only now did Xiaoheng feel a genuine pang of remorse toward me. Why push things this far? Beyond the title of Ning Wangfei, you'll never attain a higher rank. No imperial prince would ever want a narrow-minded, jealous woman like you, a discarded wife. "Who says?" A gentle voice interrupted Xiaoheng. All eyes turned to the source. Prince Rui. Xiao Jing, who never vied for attention, had stepped into the center of the hall. He bowed deeply before the emperor and declared solemnly, "Father, I wish to marry Lu Li." Xiaoheng gasped, "Xiao Jing, what business is this of yours?" Xiao Jing replied, "I merely witnessed someone discarding a pearl for a fish's eye. Unwilling to see the pearl lie in the dust, I wish to take it home and hold it in my hands." My heart trembled. Could he be referring to me as the pearl? Xiao Jing knelt with his back to me, his expression hidden from view. The emperor's brow relaxed. He merely needed a prince to bind the Lu family of generals. He agreed readily. "Lu Li, are you willing to divorce Xiaoheng and remarry Xiao Jing?" I hesitated for 2 breaths. Was it my imagination? In that brief pause, Xiao Jing seemed to grow even more frail, like a pine tree slowly withering. Your humble servant consents to remarry His Royal Highness Prince Rui." Like deadwood encountering spring, Xiao Jing's spine straightened once more, firm and upright as a rejuvenated pine. The birthday banquet concluded as dusk approached. 2 imperial edicts now rested in my hands, one for divorce, one for an arranged marriage. Xiaoheng caught up to me. "Lu Li, you will regret this." I sighed heavily. I regret it already. Xiaoheng's expression relaxed, a glimmer of hope flickering in his eyes. I smiled, waving the 2 edicts in my hand. Too late for regrets about the divorce. I should have kicked you out ages ago. You. How dare you? Xiaoheng raised his hand to strike me, but his wrist was caught midair. Xiao Jing seized his wrist and shoved Xiaoheng away from me. Caught off guard by this frail invalid, Xiaoheng stumbled backward 2 steps before crashing onto his backside. He scrambled to his feet. "Xiao Jing, you'll always only get the scraps I discard." In that instant, I clearly saw murderous intent surge in Xiao Jing's eyes, utterly incongruous with his frail, sickly frame. Then, he actually swung his fist, aiming to strike Xiaoheng. I rushed to stop him. Your Highness, be mindful of decorum in the presence of the Emperor. Only then was Xiao Jing restrained. Just then, a palace maid reported that Song Wan had regained consciousness in the side hall and was demanding to see Xiaoheng. Whenever Song Wan was mentioned before, Xiaoheng's expression would soften involuntarily. But now, hearing news of her, genuine irritation flashed across his face. Concerned for the child in her womb, he hurried toward the side hall. As he passed Xiao Jing, he stumbled over his foot, nearly falling flat on his face. Xiao Jing nonchalantly withdrew his mischievous right foot. Xiaoheng flew into a rage, raising his fist to strike, yet ultimately held back, as if waiting for me to intervene, just as I had stopped Xiao Jing. After all, this was outside the Jingde Hall. Ministers were emerging one after another, and the slightest misstep could land him in trouble. Xiaoheng looked at me. Aren't you going to say anything? What is there to say? I retorted. I would only remind my husband to mind his manners before the hall. What are you to me? Xiaoheng laughed bitterly. Luli, you're heartless. He swept his sleeve and left. Just then, Xiao Jing suddenly turned, grabbing my hand from behind my back. My right fist was already clenched as tight as a steamed bun. A playful gleam appeared in Xiao Jing's eyes. What's this about? I declared, if Xiaoheng dares touch you, this fist will smash into his face first. Xiao Jing replied solemnly, Your Highness, I fear you might lose your composure before the Emperor. Huh? My cheeks flushed. What did you just call me? Your Highness. Xiao Jing continued, only spouses care that the other won't act impulsively and make mistakes. Right? Yes. Xiao Jing suddenly let out a light, cheerful laugh, making my heart skip a beat. No wonder Xiaoheng adored Song Wan, the one who clutched her heart like Shizi. Xiao Jing's birth mother was the palace's foremost beauty, the most favored consort. The emperor himself was quite handsome in his youth. Their only son, Xiao Jing, was born with an ethereal grace, his beauty transcending the mundane. When he smiled, I nearly forgot who I was. I thought I deeply loved Xiaoheng for years. But it turns out, I'd simply never tasted true love before. With the imperial edict backing me, I smoothly shed the title of Princess Consort of Ning. 2 months later, on an auspicious day, I married again from the Liu household. Before the bridal sedan of the Prince of Shangrui's mansion, Mother clutched my hand, refusing to let go. Father wore a stern expression, while my elder brother stood silently behind me, a steadfast pillar of support. They feared Xiao Jing would become another Xiaoheng. Before my departure, Mother said, this world leaves no room for unmarried women. Yet marriage is staking your entire future. You already gambled away your life marrying the Prince of Ning. Who knows what Xiao Jing will bring? Mother, I've been having the same dream lately. In it, I'm bedridden and paralyzed. The Liu family is falsely accused and wiped out by the Prince of Ning. When I finally die a miserable death, only one person gives me a proper burial. Only one person cries out for justice for my Liu family. That person is His Highness, the Prince of Rue. Only then did my mother relax a little. Before boarding the bridal sedan chair, Xiao Jing solemnly bowed in farewell to my natal family. On our wedding night, knowing my marriage to him was partly a pragmatic choice, he offered, fear not. The Prince Rue's residence is spacious and serene, plenty of room for you to roam. Treat it as a Liu family retreat, where you may live freely and unrestrained. If you don't wish to be intimate, we'll remain respectful guests after marriage. I won't cross the line. What was he babbling about so earnestly? I leaned in and kissed him directly. Xiao Jing's face flushed instantly, redder than the large red dates on the bed. Your Highness, I truly wish to be your wife. Xiao Jing seemed to freeze in place. When I was 6, I fell into the water, And it was your highness who saved me, right? Before my rebirth. Xiao Jing and I had barely crossed paths. We'd only exchanged a few glances at formal occasions like palace banquets, never exchanging more than a few words. After a rebirth, I learned from Dr. Yi that Xiao Jing's frail health stemmed from diving into a frigid pond at age 8 to save a little girl. Xiao Heng had been watching from the shore. Xiao Jing strained to lift the girl toward the bank, and Xiao Heng caught her, saving her life. After the girl reached shore, Xiao Jing, exhausted, sank to the bottom of the pool. Xiao Heng, who should have called for help immediately, stood frozen on the bank as if petrified. Only when guards discovered him did they leap into the water to rescue Xiao Jing. By then, he was nearly submerged. Though Xiao Jing survived, his body was damaged, leaving him perpetually cold and frail. That little girl was me. I awoke to find Xiao Heng cradling my face, saying, "I saved you. How will you repay me?" And so I repaid the wrong person. It wasn't until my death in my previous life, hearing Xiao Jing rage that he'd saved my life for nothing, that I finally understood. Xiao Jing clearly hadn't expected me to bring this up. You only just realized? Did he truly believe I'd always known he saved me, yet still revolved around Xiao Heng? You fool! How could I know if you never told me? I scolded him just as he'd scolded me in my past life. Choking back sobs, "Your Highness, Prince Rue, you nearly lost half your life for me. Yet you kept it hidden, expecting me to guess? I'm so foolish." By the time I figured it out, it was far too late. I'd already died once before learning to be wise. But the Xiao Jing of my past life was truly betrayed by me. It was my fault. Don't cry. He raised his hand to wipe the tear from my corner of my eye, then tenderly stroked the scar on my neck. Suddenly, he turned and pulled a box of perfumed ointment from beneath the pillow. "We'll use this tonight." I stared at the box of ointment, my face flushing as red as a jujube. I'm no unwed maiden. What this bridal chamber ointment is for, could I possibly be unaware? I just hadn't expected Xiao Jing to shift the topic so abruptly. My teary nose was still sniffling, and he was already thinking about this. "I'll apply it myself. Remove your outer robe." Xiao Jing spoke as he opened the ointment. My eyes widened in shock. "Your Highness, I never imagined you were this kind of person." "What kind of person?" "I like you exactly this way." I slipped off my outer robe and sat cross-legged on the wedding bed, full of anticipation. Xiao Jing dipped his index finger into the ointment and held it out to me. Just as I was about to close my eyes and enjoy the sensation, I felt that warm touch gently settle on the scar at the nape of my neck. My eyes snapped open. Xiao Jing was meticulously applying the ointment to my scar. "This is the muscle regenerating ointment I had brought from Donghu. It can erase any scar. A young lady always cherishes her beauty. How could she bear to keep a scar? So that's what your Highness intended to apply." Xiao Jing countered. "What else did you think it was?" "Nothing. Nothing at all." Ha ha. Heaven help me. I wanted to sink through the floor. On our wedding night, His Royal Highness Prince Rue watched his beloved consort blush crimson as a large red date, rolling back and forth across the bed, back and forth, crushing the peanuts beneath the mattress until they crackled. As I rolled, something suddenly pricked me. I reached under the covers and pulled out another box of perfume. Holding it, I asked, "Is this for scar removal too?" This time, Xiao Jing blushed. He cleared his throat. "No. No." Our eyes met. And suddenly, without a word, we both burst into laughter. I pulled him into the bed curtains. Tonight's top priority was to thoroughly discuss the proper use of this ointment. The next day, I slept until the sun was high in the sky. No one had woken me. Getting up nearly strained my back. I'd thought Xiao Jing was frail, so I'd only exerted myself moderately. Little did I know he could be so fierce when it mattered. Though His Royal Highness Prince Rue must be a novice. lacking any sense of restraint. After washing up, I heard Xiao Jing practicing archery in the courtyard and pressed my face against the window, watching him in a daze. His porcelain white skin glowed like jade gilded with gold in the sunlight. The longbow in his hands moved with the fluid power of a dragon, each arrow striking true. Though every shot hit the bullseye, a hint of struggle was evident, only 70% of his usual lethal force. It took 5 arrows to finally pierce the center. A healthy master would have pierced it with the first shot. His frail body truly held him back. The prince never practiced martial arts in the courtyard before. He must be shooting for the princess consort to see, right? The prince is so formidable, the little maid whispered loudly, nearly declaring that Xiao Jing was deliberately showing off for me. This servant will attend to the princess consort's ablutions. Sitting before the large, clear dressing mirror, I immediately noticed the scar on my neck had faded considerably. After that incident on the city wall, I'd been running around the palace trying to divorce Xiaoheng. Exhausting every effort, I hadn't had time to tend to my own wound. That arrow wound had been quite deep, leaving a raised scar after healing. Even my master said it would take half a year for the scar to fade. Yet on the very first day of my marriage to Xiao Jing, he erased the ugliest scar from my body. So this is what it feels like to be loved, without my desperate struggles. He presented me with the finest gift. Once I was fully dressed, Xiao Jing had finished shooting his arrows. I wiped the thin sheen of sweat from his brow, but he offered me his longbow instead. This bow is called Changfeng. Its design is exquisite, and its lethality should not be underestimated. I crafted it myself. That day on the city ramparts, Xiaoheng wounded you with his bow and arrow. Li, you should hold both bow and arrow in your own hands. Take control of your own life and death, rather than letting others make that choice for you. Understand? I was stunned, besides my parents. Only Xiao Jing would speak to me this way. Xiao Jing took my hand and placed it upon the bow and arrows. Li, you are the daughter of a military family. How can you be confined to the inner quarters? Take up your weapons. In my past life, I died amidst the strife of the inner quarters, perished in the flames of war ignited by one man and another woman. Xiao Jing erased the scars Xiaoheng left on me, reshaping the soul he had once disciplined. I took the Changfeng bow and also grasped Xiao Jing's wrist, taking his pulse, though weakened. He hadn't neglected his health. His cold constitution can be remedied. I want the prince to live 100 years. Then I'll join you in wielding swords and spears, stirring up some trouble together. Xiao Jing paused, then clasped my hand firmly. Agreed. While living a life of honeyed bliss in Prince Rui's mansion, I'd heard plenty of gossip about Prince Ning's household. Rumor had it that after Song Wan realized she'd forever remain a slave, she grew anxious and clingy. During her pregnancy, she insisted Xiaoheng stay by her side day and night. Out of concern for the child she carried, Xiaoheng had no choice but to comply. Yet Xiaoheng constantly schemed to marry a more suitable consort. That scene at the palace banquet exposed him to the aristocratic clans, a faithless man who betrayed his first wife. Unworthy of trust. Marrying Xiaoheng meant enduring his fickle heart. His behavior had already alienated most of his supporters, severely diminishing his chances in the succession struggle and casting doubt on his future prospects. No noble house would willingly send their carefully nurtured daughter into the fiery pit that was the Prince of Ning's residence. Meanwhile, after Prince Rui, Xiao Jing took a wife. His health grew increasingly robust. Once frail and taciturn, he now wore a daily smile, his eyes sparkling with such happiness that even the favored consort, known for her close bond with the emperor, felt a twinge of envy. Where Prince Rui once shied from contention, his newly favored consort now stands as his greatest ally in the fray. That day in the palace, after speaking with the consort, we found our minds in perfect harmony, a meeting that felt long overdue. The current situation is plain for all to see. Xiaoheng has become a half-abandoned pawn, a man who holds grudges like a hawk. He nearly cost Jing his life years ago. Now, after divorcing you, he's fallen into such disgrace. Though he bears the blame, he'll surely pin every fault on you and harbor deep hatred. The consort said to Xiao Jing, "Fear not. Jing Xiaoheng won't spare the Lu family. Protect your consort well. Once, mother advised you to watch the tigers fight from the mountain. Now, it's time for you to enter the fray." The consort's guess was spot on. At this time in my past life, Xiaoheng framed the Lu family for embezzling military funds, even bringing in the Vice Minister of Revenue as a witness. My father died unjustly in prison. This lifetime, he will surely repeat the same trick. To turn the tide, we must break through at the Vice Minister of Revenue. But Qin Yan, the Deputy Minister of Revenue, is Xiaoheng's confidant. Their interests are deeply intertwined. Qin Yan is also a cunning womanizer. Capturing his wives and concubines won't threaten him. He has 3 daughters. Years ago, bandits kidnapped his eldest daughter for ransom. Yet Qin Yan refused to pay a single coin. In the end, his eldest daughter was thrown off a cliff to her death. How could such a cold-hearted, opportunistic man be swayed? Just as I was at my wit's end, Xiao Jing's men brought back a 7-year-old boy from outside. This was Qin Yan's illegitimate son, born to another woman. Having only gained this child in his old age, he cherished him like his own life. To prevent anyone from exploiting this weakness, the boy had been raised in Jiangqing, 100 li away from the capital. Threatening him with this child, do you think he'd be afraid? I gasped, "Your Highness. How did you learn of this?" The Prince Rui's household isn't to be trifled with. I planted a big kiss on Prince Rui. With a hostage in hand, Qin Yan quickly backed down, begging us that his daughter was insignificant, just don't harm his only good son. So when Xiaoheng made a grand accusation against my father, Qin Yan turned on him before the emperor, counter-accusing Xiaoheng of embezzling military funds to maintain private troops. When the fake accounts couldn't be sustained anymore, he sought the Lu family to take the fall. Qin Yan declared loudly, "This isn't the first or second time the prince has done such things." The emperor flew into a rage, stripped Xiaoheng of his princely title, and banished him to the remote fiefdom of Songlin City. Qin Yan, rewarded for his denunciation, was demoted and exiled. Fortunately, his son survived. Xiaoheng had taken a heavy fall, but as long as he lived, I could never find peace. Xiao Jing, understanding my thoughts, enlightened me. "Do you know how the Song family of the Marquisate was wiped out?" The Song family was once as deeply connected to the Ning Wangfu as the Lu family. They were lifelong allies. My skin crawled. "Are you saying Xiaoheng orchestrated Song Wan's fall to become a slave orphan?" "But he truly loved her. How could that be? Affection is one thing, but in someone like Xiaoheng's eyes, what value does genuine feeling hold when pitted against profit?" I understood. I would make Song Wan the blade that strikes at Xiaoheng. When Song Wan was 6 months pregnant, I went to see her. She looked unwell, her complexion ashen, her body gaunt, only her swollen belly protruding like a frail tree trunk parasitized by a hornet's nest. I thought, that with Xiaoheng all to yourself, you should be living quite well. I remained calm, but Song Wan was easily provoked. "Lu Li, have you come to mock me? Don't even dream of it. The child in my womb is the only bloodline Xiaoheng truly values. You'll never win against me." I had long set my sights on the throne. Yet she remained trapped in petty harem squabbles over men. Even after I withdrew from that battlefield, she still saw me as her rival. How pathetic. At this point, I even felt pity for Song Wan. I didn't utter a single harsh word. I merely handed her the denunciation letter Qin Yan had written before his exile. The letter detailed how 3 years ago, the Ning prince's household faced chronic deficits, forcing them to borrow from the Marquis' estate, a frequent financial partner, as a bridge loan. The Marquis' estate was accused of embezzling 500 taels of gold and military funds, a deficit originally recorded in the Ning prince's accounts. Exploiting the Marquis' trust, Xiao Heng shifted the blame, causing the entire Marquis family to fall under suspicion overnight. His most beloved Songwon lost both her husband and mother. Reduced to an orphan slave, Xiao Heng then appeared before Songwon as a savior, compelling her to cling to her family's executioner as a lifeline, groveling for favor. From the private room came Songwon's anguished wails. I knew then, the plan had succeeded. On the day Xiao Heng was banished from the imperial city, he carried Songwon, 7 months pregnant, passing beneath the very city gate where it all began. Xiao Heng murmured, "Had I chosen Luli that day, would today's outcome be different?" He regretted his wrong choice, which had shattered a decade-long scheme. Songwon's gaze turned icy as she watched his retreating figure. Even his unwavering presence during that life-or-death crisis had been calculated, weighed against potential gains and losses. What affection remained? Songwon plucked the hairpin from her hair. Its tail was shaped like a dagger. Gripping the pin tightly, she thrust it without hesitation into Xiao Heng's back. Xiao Heng staggered forward 2 steps from the blow. Turning, he saw it was Songwon who had struck him from behind. He seized her slender neck. "You wretch! Even you dare betray me!" Her face flushed crimson under his grip. Yet she smiled coldly. "Xiao Heng, a man like you deserves to be hunted down by all." Xiao Heng froze. "What do you know?" Songwon remained silent, only tears falling. Even in tears, she remained beautiful. Yet she could no longer evoke the slightest pity from Xiao Heng. Xiao Heng laughed savagely. "Knowing is good. It saves this prince from having to play along any longer." He wanted to strangle Songwon, to kill this tainted woman bound to him. Yet he also wanted the child growing inside her. In the final moment before he could kill her, he flung her to his guards. "Tie her up like a hog, throw her in the carriage, and lock her away in Songlin until she gives birth." "You still want the child?" Songwon suddenly gave a wretched smile. Then with astonishing decisiveness and force, snatched the guard's dagger. Amid Xiao Heng's horrified roar, Songwon plunged the blade into her own swollen belly. The thrust was deep, surely cleaving the formed fetus in two. Songwon hated Xiao Heng's bloodline. But she hated herself even more, hated being blinded by her enemy. Hated feigning illness and smiling servilely just to earn that enemy's mocking smile. In the end, it was all for nothing. A complete farce. Even in the afterlife, she would feel shame before her own kin. Xiao Heng. To conceive this child. I even took medicine that harmed my body. Mark my words, in this world, only I, Songwon, would go this far for you. But a man like you is utterly unworthy of love. Now, I will kill this child with my own hands. I will make sure you have no descendants. Just like my Song family suffered in the past. Her self-loathing drove the knife deeper without hesitation, piercing through the child, piercing through her own flesh. Xiao Heng clutched her, pressing against the wound in her abdomen, wailing loudly. His tears weren't for the woman who once loved him, but for the son he'd never met, the one who could carry on his bloodline. No matter how deep the hairpin pierced, it was still just a hairpin. It missed his heart by 2 inches. Xiao Heng didn't die, wounded. He retreated to his fiefdom, having lost his only bloodline. He had long since descended into madness. Once healed, he raised an army in rebellion. Over the years, he amassed 50,000 private soldiers. Maintaining such forces demanded vast sums of gold and silver, which he embezzled from the court's disaster relief grain and frontline military funds. Now that his crimes were exposed, he could no longer sustain his army. He had to fight a quick battle to end it. The emperor fell ill with rage. Xiao Jing was appointed commander-in-chief, and I accompanied him on the campaign. The rebels advanced to Qizhou City, the closest to the imperial capital. where the final decisive battle unfolded. The two armies were locked in a stalemate. Xiao Heng and Xiao Jing engaged in a fierce duel. Xiao Heng's attacks were vicious and treacherous, fueled by what seemed like an ocean of hatred toward Xiao Jing. "Why haven't you died yet? You should have drowned in that icy pool long ago. You've clung to life all these years, stealing my throne and even my woman." His fist slammed toward Xiao Jing's vital point. Xiao Jing dodged swiftly, instantly twisting Xiao Heng's wrist. The sound of cracking bones echoed. Xiao Heng screamed in agony. Xiao Jing's palm clamped around Xiao Heng's throat. "Do you deserve any of this? It's merely returning what's rightfully yours." These words enraged Xiao Heng. He lashed out violently, locking into a twisted stalemate with Xiao Jing. Xiao Jing gripped Xiao Heng's throat. Xiao Heng seized Xiao Jing's vital point. The choice of who would win, who would live, fell into the hands of the one holding the bow and arrow, me. I raised the Changfeng bow, its arrowhead aimed squarely at Xiao Jing. Xiao Heng's face lit up with joy. "Ollie, you still love me. I knew it. I knew you still loved me. I was the one who wronged you before. Kill Xiao Jing for me. Once I seize the throne, I'll make you my sole empress." His confession cut short as a sharp arrow pierced his throat. My arrow aimed at Xiao Jing was merely a feint, lulling Xiao Heng into complacency so I could strike him down. Blood surged up, choking Xiao Heng's words in his throat. He stared at me in disbelief. "Xiao Heng, that arrow on the city tower, I return it to you." Xiao Heng coughed up blood relentlessly, yet asked bitterly, "Why choose him over me?" I gripped the longbow, so this was the exhilaration of holding life and death in my hands. "You never chose me with certainty, so how dare you demand I choose you?" I coldly drew the Changfeng bow. This time, the arrow's tip aimed for Xiao Heng's temple. "Xiao Heng, you stand in the way of my husband. Farewell. No need to see me off." The arrow pierced Xiao Heng's temple, a shot I had rehearsed countless times while bedridden in my past life. Xiao Heng died horribly on the battlefield. The rebels were executed, and the rest surrendered. The archers deliberately avoided me, yet the dense hail of arrows inevitably grazed my body. A year later, the emperor abdicated as the retired sovereign, and Xiao Jing ascended the throne smoothly. I was crowned empress. He refused to select concubines, claiming his frail health made him incapable, too exhausted to manage the affairs of the bedchamber. Yet night after night, the man who clung to me demanding more was as strong as an ox. Yet before me, he would feign exhaustion, feigning weakness, urging me to take the initiative. In the first year of his reign, I bore Xiao Jing a pair of dragon and phoenix twins. The children were innocent and adorable, yet they inherited my temperament, always full of mischief. Xiao Jing would often send Liner and Zhaoer to the Empress Dowager and the retired emperor, stealing half a day of leisure with me. I often thought of how Xiao Jing must have lived in my past life, how lonely and isolated he must have been. I could only compensate him doubly in this life. True sincerity is rare in this world. It took me dying once to finally have a choice. Only by missing out on one lifetime could we earn this life of being together and loving each other. Fortunately, after the bitterness comes the sweetness. Lu Li. From now on, the rest of our lives will be bright and beautiful days. The end.